I'm breathing underwater, I'm weightless through space. I'm soaring like an eagle all over this place. Creatures most will never see are waiting there to look at me, and all I gotta do is breathe underwater.
General? Plane approaching, sir.
In the country of somewhere stand near the Red Sea, the Americans were doing what they did best in the early 60s, spying on the country of somewhere stand near the Red Sea.
I wonder what they're looking for. Not, I am sure, what they're going to get.
They tweak, twiddle, and frob some knobs and switches, and something starts to happen.
Gentlemen, today we face a moment of historic importance.
The general is an android and that machine controls him. Our man just pushed the pause to make a speech button.
With this final demonstration of the power of my new weapon, I'll be ready to act. Our country will command the Red Sea and the approaches to the Suez Canal. In a few short weeks, our country will have emerged as the greatest power in the Middle East.
The guys bursting through the door are there to stop him from triggering World War III. There's just one problem.
Guns are useless, gentlemen. We're surrounded by a highly potent magnetized field in which no machinery based on steel will move.
But his guards have special weapons made of non-ferrous metals. Gentlemen, I suggest you find the exit quick. No, quicker than that. Never mind.
$5,000. 3,000, 1,000.
That's not the first U-2 they've toppled with this thing. And if you read IMDb, you know that's not a U-2, but we won't talk about that. He calls it the Magnus beam, and he can point it anywhere and control everything made of iron or steel.
Literally, when you contact Richmond, he'll put you in touch with the underground. Don't take any unnecessary chances, but try to find out what's happening with our U-2.
We don't know yet how many the U.S. sent over to be destroyed, but you'd think after one, we might think twice about sending another one until we know what happened. But these decisions aren't made by people. They're made by committees. As we know, the level of intelligence in a room drops in exponential proportion to the number of members on the committee. That's just basic science. Crane will slip ashore in the middle of the night and meet a guy named Richardson. The man will put him in contact with the local underground because, of course, somewhere Stan has an active underground movement.
So the Seaview is still in the Red Sea area.
Investigating the U-2 crashes, sir.
This can upset the entire timetable.
I don't know of a thing I can say about Malachi Throne that I haven't already said in one of the squillion other times we've seen him. As far as I'm concerned, the man was and is a character acting legend. He went from this role to playing Falseface, for pity's sake. How many actors could go from a general bent on starting a war to Batman and pull it off? He was an Afghan warlord in the time tunnel, a scientist trying to prevent a coup in Land of the Giants. He was everywhere, and every role was convincing, including this one. Okay, maybe I can find a few things to say about him. I stand corrected. And one other thing I know about him, it really annoys some of you when I pronounce his name Malachi.
I fail to see how, sir. The Magnus beam is invulnerable to attack here in these caverns. The only entrance by sea is far too deep. No submarine could enter.
This one can. Major Amati, I charge you with full responsibility to deal with this American submarine.
And will you also give me a free hand to act in any way I see fit?
You have it.
Oh boy, he's a military man and he wants to play with his boom boom toys. We've had hints and suggestions that these stories take place in the early 1970s, but it's a good thing they weren't actually filmed at that time or Major Amati wouldn't have been around for it. Mario Alcalde was another up-and-coming character actor who was cut off in his prime in 1971 at the age of 44. The odd thing is, nobody seems to want to say from what. His obituary said to make contributions to the American Cancer Society, so that might be a hint, but no official cause has ever been released. The good news for us is we'll see a lot of him and his performance in this episode, so settle in and enjoy what he was able to leave us.
Now, do you know how to get into Roskandar from here?
Sure. I memorized the maps, but I thought you were going to guide me.
Only as far as the main road. I've got a feeling they're on to me. If they are, it wouldn't be a good idea to go into town together.
I understand.
If they're on to you, it might not be a good idea to go into town separately either.
I'll get you onto the highway. Once in town, find a nightclub called the Golden Parrot.
Golden Parrot.
I wonder who that guy is playing Richardson. IMDb doesn't have him listed, and neither do the end credits. I'll have to dig a little.
Ask for a singer named...
Never mind. Crane slipped into town, went to the nightclub, and was informed that they had never had a singer named Bang Ugg. He never did make contact with the underground. He puts on Richardson's robe and headgear and slips past the sniper into town. Somehow they saw through his clever disguise.
Thanks for the help.
Thank me later. You better get out of here before the police come.
His new friend helps him slip away and find a little cubby where they can catch their breath.
Where are you going?
A nightclub called the Golden Parrot.
I'll take you there. What do you want to see there?
I don't know.
This don't matter. I'll take you there anyway. Come.
The Golden Parrot has food, drink, and entertainment in the form of the lovely Luana. Richardson told him to contact a singer there, and they have one. That narrows the search.
Quick, up these stairs.
Fellas here.
We saw Inspector Falazir earlier. He's the chief of the country's secret police. Everybody is terrified of the secret police, except our new friend here.
I trust we are in time. The bait is taken.
And that explains why. Crane had to know this guy was setting him up, but his choices were go home or just go with it. Our man got him to the Golden Parrot. Now he needs to contact this singer without getting suspicious. And I hope he speaks French. I don't know enough French to catch the song she's singing, and I can't find any information about whether or not that's actually Monique Lemaire singing. She's from France and moved to England to get fluent in English when she started acting. She wasn't in the business very long, though, and in the 70s she quit acting and went back to England to raise her family. As far as anybody knows, she's still there living comfortably.
Luana? My name's Jerry Richmond.
Come with me.
In her dressing room, he has to tell her what happened to the real Richmond and what he's doing there.
Were you followed?
I don't think so.
He wasn't followed, he was escorted. That's better, right?
We know what has been destroying your planes. It is buried on the cliffs along the coast. It uses some kind of magnetic force, or very powerful.
No wonder our detection instruments couldn't spot anything. How can we reach it?
I don't know.
She knows someone who can help, and she'll take Crane to him.
Perhaps I can help you.
A Maddie. You were followed.
But I know this man. He saved my life when I was attacked in the streets.
I know him too. He's a General Kemal Chief of Security.
She doesn't seem too concerned, and I can't help wondering why. She's got to have backup somewhere in case somebody gets persnickety.
A very difficult role for me. Sir, I have done you a favor. Now you owe me one. I want asylum on the submarine Seaview which brought you here.
Okay, did not see that coming. Asylum, you say. Please tell us more.
Why should I trust you?
All right. General Kemal is about to plunge my country into war. We cannot allow this. You have given us an opportunity to prevent it. Once on board the submarine, I will lead it to an underground entrance. 2 carefully placed missiles will destroy the weapon, and with it, General Kemal's power.
Sounds too convenient to be true, doesn't it? Crane says, forget it. Even if I bought your story, I'm not taking you on the Seaview. Going back to my place when we haven't even had a proper first date? You cad!
You got to take him now.
Why?
Don't you understand? If he's lying, he can have his secret police on our heads the moment he steps outside.
She's right, you know. If I'm lying. But if I'm not, I can help you to destroy this terrible weapon.
She's not wrong about the secret police. The good thing about that is, if he is aboard the sub and the secret police start hassling Crane and Luana, the guest seeking asylum becomes a hostage.
Obviously, Major Amati, your offer intrigues me.
Obviously.
You know why Captain Crane decided to spend an extra day on the shore?
No, sir. No, the captain did not confide in me.
However, Admiral, if you had gotten a look at Luana, you might have the answer to your question.
Abdul Aziz, the courier dealer, lives there. He's the man you must see. Wait.
I don't want to take anything for granted. There's no use both of us sticking our necks out.
Then let me go.
No, you stay here.
This is man's work. Doesn't matter that you've been doing this for who knows how long. You know this guy and I don't. This is man's work. You're the frail little woman, so you stay here.
Good evening, sir. We've been expecting you.
Mr. Aziz.
No, that is not Aziz. And neither is that guy, or that guy, or that guy, or that...
Stretching due east for 3 miles, an enormous fissure reaches into the cavern. It's the only underwater entrance to it. Now, according to Major Amati, the landward approaches to the cavern are very heavily fortified because a new weapon of enormous power has been installed there. It's already responsible for the destruction of 3 of our U-2s and is now, in violation of all international treaties, a direct threat to the Suez Canal.
As far as we know, the general hasn't made any overt threats to the canal, but just the possibility that he might is enough to get the attention of most every country that has ever sent a ship through it. Egypt had owned and operated it since 1956, and the only people they seemed to want to hassle about using it were the Israelis. Even then, a little international pressure got them to back down from that and open it up to anybody who had the cash to pay the toll. This show ostensibly takes place in the early 1970s, so to our knowledge, the canal has been operating peacefully for close to 20 years now. Neither Irwin nor anybody else in Hollywood could foresee what would happen over there just 3 years after this aired. If you're not sure what I mean, head over to Wikipedia and look up the 6-Day War. I'm going to make a controversial statement here. Speaking as a Christian, I have no use at all for the current state of Israel. It's genocidal and murderous and is not in any way related to biblical Israel. I'd be perfectly happy if the U.S. and everybody else cut off all aid until they treat the Palestinians like people. Having said that, a lot of other countries over there have learned the hard way not to mess with them. More nations have attacked them and gone home with their collective butts in a collective sling than I can count without looking it up.
We need plenty of elbow room.
There's plenty, sir. This tunnel is over 400 feet at its narrowest point.
Headroom?
It's 250 feet at the entrance, increasing to over 800.
So if it's that easily accessible, why aren't there any underwater defenses?
Very simple, sir. It's too deep. We have no submarines that will operate at this level. Neither has anyone else. There's only the Seaview. No submarine could hope to make that passage. So there are no defenses.
I want him to think about what he just said. There are no submarines that can go that deep, but he's sitting in one and he knows it. So if they know the Seaview exists, for all they know, somebody is building a whole fleet of them and coming for his weapon. But the general isn't worried because there are no submarines that can go that deep, except this one, which just happens to be in the area and can go find this unguarded cavern anytime they decide to. Gee, that doesn't sound contradictory at all.
Major,
Yes.
you tell me how you figured 400 feet is the width of that channel? Especially since you can't get any submarines down there.
We measured with our fathometer, sir, from the surface.
I see, thank you.
I don't think he realizes he's talking to some world-class scientist because he just made a mistake.
Well, if you're thinking what I'm thinking, Admiral, you realize there's only one way to measure that channel.
Sure, physically. In a confined space like that, a fathometer just wouldn't work.
If he told me he used a diving bell, I might have believed him.
For that matter, he could have said they entered it from the surface and mapped it while they were down there. And by the way, our crew already knows where the cavern is and they've almost reached it. The Major doesn't know that.
Chip, I want you to bring us approximately 1,000 yards off the channel entrance, then come to a dead stop.
Aye, aye, sir.
Chip Morton is one of the secondary cast members who give us some continuity. Along with Kowalski, Patterson, and a couple of others, his presence gives us the feeling that we really are in an ongoing thing here. It's not like your average sitcom where the handful of main characters entertain a continuous parade of one-off guests. I'm probably butchering his name, but Robert Dowdell was one of those fellows who always knew he wanted to act. He did plenty of character roles, two of which we've seen here. He was in an episode of Max Headroom and had a minor role in an episode of Land of the Giants. But most people remember him from right here. He owned the role of First Officer Lieutenant Commander Morton for the next 4 years, and his steady professional acting helped keep the show believable. He retired from acting in 1995 and died in 2018 at the age of 85. Not a bad run.
Rig for silent running.
Aye, aye, sir. Rig for silent running.
We're going in, Chip. Radio silence, minimum speed.
Maintain radio silence. Ahead dead slow.
Aye, sir.
Those sonar pings do not equal silent running, gentlemen. I know it's a thing that viewers expect to hear when they see a sub underwater, but rather than educate the public about that, we give them what they think they're supposed to see. There are times when just go with it isn't the best option, Irwin.
What has gone wrong with our plans? We should have gone out by now. I should have gone into the mini-sub to show you the entrance to the cavern.
We found it without your assistance, Major. You wouldn't have lasted 3 seconds at this depth.
Sir, I protest. You could have tripped an alarm.
But you said there weren't any. Admiral Nelson says we'll ascend to 1,000 feet and then I'll send the mini-sub out. Would you like to be on it?
Yes, of course.
Yes. I imagined you might.
Is something troubling you, Admiral?
Yes, Major, it is. That's troubling me enough to make me want to back this sub out of here and head for safer waters.
Sir, please, take my word. We are on the threshold of an important discovery.
I have no doubt we are, but there must be safer ways of getting information.
That note is about Captain Crane being captured. Amadi has now dropped all pretense.
Now, where is he?
Irving!
Everything metal on the boat, including the boat itself, has gone bonkers. Pistols won't fire, hatches won't open, nothing works.
Nothing made of steel will move while our weapon is in operation. Your motors, your pumps, every piece of machinery on board is immobilized.
Magnetism.
The Magnus beam, Admiral.
Now, I understand why you were so anxious to get away on the mini-sub.
I never wanted so much to pull the trigger.
There are lots of other ways to use that pistol to get your point across, Patterson. Start exploring them.
Why bother, Patterson? I'm already a dead man, gentlemen, just as you are.
Then you won't mind if Patterson knocks a few of your teeth out to set aside for posterity. What does he mean by that? Well, their plan is to use the weapon to raise the Seaview to near the surface, then crush it like a cardboard box. That means there's no chance for him to get off now because he was supposed to escape in the mini-sub before this happened. Somebody did not think about having a plan B.
Come in, senorita.
Forgive me that I asked you to come to the home of my cousin.
That's Abdul Aziz, the guy Captain Crane thought he was meeting.
It's a small matter of the police. They have taken it into their heads to watch me closely.
But if they are watching,
Oh, we're safe enough here.
how much do the police know, Abdulaziz?
Nothing they can prove. Still, I'm annoyed with them. They tapped my telephone, which is how they arrested your American so easily.
After that, they kicked him out of his own place and set the whole thing up. There was no way she or anybody else could have known that.
I must find out where he is.
And then?
Then he must be rescued.
All this will not be easy.
What, you can't just walk up to the jail and say, hey, he's my pal, let him out, and they'll do it? What is the world coming to? Character actor Jacques Aubuchon is an old friend of the channel, even though I haven't talked about him. This is the 5th time we've seen him, and there will probably be more. Aziz says, we'll need more people to conduct a proper assault and rescue. Good thing he has lots of cousins.
Only a few feet a minute, but we're going up.
It's the power of the Magnus beam, Admiral. Slowly but surely, it's pulling your submarine toward it with a force nothing can resist.
Well, let it pull. We're going up. We're headed for the surface.
Not to the surface, Patterson, but to the Magnus beam.
He goes on to explain how it'll crush the sub and everybody in it. He didn't intend to be aboard, and he's not interested in dying young, but he says if that's what it takes, so be it. I want to know why he's walking around unfettered. Send a message to the general telling him you have the major as your hostage and you're willing to do very naughty things to him if the general doesn't release them and Captain Crane. This is something I'm not sure Admiral Nelson understands because he's a decent guy. He thinks in those terms. But when you're dealing with people like this, you have to put that aside and force yourself to think nasty. You have to consider what's going to be most effective against someone like the general, and that might require getting dog crap mean. I'm not sure Nelson can do that, but I have a feeling Patterson could.
We can crush your submarine in an hour or two, or we could let the men die slowly, one by one as their air is used up.
Tell us about your contact in the underground, and perhaps, just perhaps, your friends may be saved.
This man will tell you nothing. Take him out and have him shot.
He won't tell you anything because your head of secret police asked him a question and then put his lights out so he's incapable of answering, dimwit. At least give him a chance to wake up and tell you where to cram it before you shoot him. By the way, Aziz is kind of like the kingpin. Most of that bulk is muscle, not fat.
Key. Guard. Guard.
Oh, and Inspector, Captain Crane is a lot tougher than you are. I have a feeling he already knows that. Or he will when the little birds stop chirping. Luana knows a passage that will get them out of here, but Crane has a different idea.
The Seaview's helpless out there. We gotta help them.
We've got to go this way.
He's determined to stop the machine and save his sub. They have 2 rifles that Luana and Aziz got from those guards, but that's not going to be even close to enough. Aziz has sent for his cousins, and I hope they understand this party as BYOG, bring your own gun. Or you can get one that way. Now they have 3 rifles. Not much improvement over 2, but they have a perfect opportunity to use one with great effect.
Our prisoner has escaped. He is still somewhere here in the cabin area. He is to be shot on sight.
There's your chance, Captain. He's a perfect target, so shoot him. Kill the general right now and everything falls apart.
With the help of Allah, I have returned with one of my cousins. There are many more on the way.
What's that?
A present for our beloved General. Allah glorify his name.
Dynamite.
Liberated from a careless digger of oil wells, these will pulverize a great machine with hopefully just enough left over for the general himself.
A bullet is faster, and he's making it really easy for you. Shoot the general.
But how do we get these explosives over to the machine?
The female mind is eternally bogged down with practicalities.
Look, I got the idea of stealing it, right? The rest is detail.
Shoot the general.
I want more guards posted. The rest of the garrison will join in the search for Crane. Every inch of the cabin area must be covered.
Yes, sir. We'll find him.
If you don't, I warn you the consequences will be most unpleasant.
They're both right next to the machine. It's a 2-for-1 sale, so start shooting.
Oh, how I'd like to give him a 21-gun salute.
You only need one, dude. Pick it up and pull the trigger. This is torture. Aboard the Seaview, they're shallow enough now that they could use scuba gear to get out and go see about this weapon. The only problem is they can't get the airlock hatch open thanks to the magnetic field. But Admiral Nelson is getting an idea about that.
Curly,
Yes, sir.
get that coil of copper wire over here. And the battery jumpers.
Aye, aye, sir.
They pull the batteries out of the mini-sub and connect a bunch together. It's not hard to sort out that he's making a countering magnetic field. With enough juice to power it, they should be able to get the hatch open. The weapon isn't affecting their scuba tanks, so we can assume those are made of aluminum. The Navy had been using them since the mid-1950s. Now Amadi is getting concerned because this just might work.
Do you really think you can get that hatch open in time?
Well, it depends. The magnetic field created by the Magnus beam is anything like I think it is. I can. At least for a minute or so.
Then give me diving equipment and let me get out.
Now, why would I do that?
I'll arrange an honorable surrender for you. There'll be no need for anyone to die.
Surrender, Major.
He don't know me very well, do he?
They'll get the scuba gear all right, but the Major won't be using any of it.
Here they are, sir.
Thanks, Curly. Bring me those plastic explosives.
Yes, sir.
We're attacking the spear guns. They're made of aluminum. They won't be affected by the ray. Besides, we have the element of surprise on our side. Patterson.
Yes, sir.
Get ready to make the connection.
Aye, sir.
This is the moment of truth. When Patterson connects those cables, the counterfield will fire up and they should be able to open the hatch.
No! If you only knew, sir, how long I've been wanting to do that.
I think he speaks for most all the men. Let's try this again without the interruption. Incidentally, somebody on IMDb complained about the humming noise the circuit made when Patterson connected. Batteries put out DC current, not AC, so there wouldn't be any humming. But DC also would not create a magnetic field effective enough for what they need. That requires the current to be fluctuating like AC does, which means they're using an inverter, the same thing you can put in your camper to power your TV set. In the cavern, a whole passel of cousins just arrived, ready to fight. But if they try to make a run for the machine over all that open ground, it'll be more like a whole lot of self-sacrifice. They need a diversion. While he moves to deal with another guard, the rest of the team does their thing.
Allah be praised.
There's your diversion.
While they're getting ready, the men from the Seaview are almost done planting plastic explosive, and one of them is already submerging with the detonator, just waiting for the secret word.
Look.
That starts a huge firefight. If Crane and the others are going to do something, I recommend they do it now. Something like that, for example. Falazir will go down in short order, but he's small fry. Aziz wants to personally take out the big fish. I still don't know why he didn't do that half an hour ago. He could have saved all this. But the bullet just grazed the Admiral, so he's okay, and Crane will connect the necessary wires. Where he thinks he's going, I have no idea.
Hit the deck!
That just leaves our dear Major Amati, but they know what to do with him.
We'll put you ashore at Raskandara, the prisoner.
I claim asylum, Admiral Nelson.
You did that before, Marty. We didn't take your request at face value then. What makes you think we will now?
Asylum is for refugees and other displaced people. Refugees from justice don't count, dude. We're looking at some top-notch acting because you really believe this guy still doesn't get what happened. He still thinks he has leverage. If you think that's not a difficult act to pull off, try it sometime. As usual, I have to grumble a little about the way Crane treated Luana. She saved his bacon more than once, and he still did the you stay behind because you're just a girl thing every time there was trouble. I know someone will say that was just the culture of the time. You don't have to tell me, I was there, and I didn't like it then either. She was essential to the whole operation, and he acted like she was his appendix. She knew how to deal with him, though. When it was all over, he asked her to dinner, but she said as an appendix, she wasn't allowed to date a colon sphincter.
I'm breathing underwater, I'm weightless through space. I'm soaring like an eagle all over this place. Creatures most will never see are waiting there to look at me. And all I gotta do is breathe underwater.
Role to playing false face for please. Blah, 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 blah. Nobody wants to see. Blah, 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 blah. Slow down. His new friend blah, blah, blah. Richardson told him to contact Richardson. They're living comfortably. Comfortably. Screw up the last word, stupid. Is that guy or that guy or that guy or that guy or that guy? And then I'll send the send the get out of your those guards, but that's not going back. Shoot the general. Stop biting yourself, you dummy. Now do it without sounding like you're angry. Okay.